was introduced. I'm Kristy Shaper. I'm Head of Licensing and Publishing at the National Archives. And on behalf of TNA, so I will say TNA, so that's the abbreviation, you're obviously very welcome here today. So the National Archives, or the Public Records Office as it was known at the time, moved to this location in the 1970s, and that was from Chancery Lane. So sometimes it's known as the nation's filing cabinet. It's an affectionate term. So we moved here in the 1970s, as I said, and in this is the original part, the brutalist architectural side. It's over 33,000 square metres in size, and this is where the public side of the building is, where the reading rooms are. And its extension was created in the 1990s. So if you look outside, but you can't at the moment, but if you look outside, then its green roof is supposedly designed to mimic Kew Gardens' pagoda, famous pagodas. So what are the National Archives? So who are we? We're a non-ministerial department. We're the official archive and publisher of the UK government and for England and Wales. So we hold over 1,000 years of iconic national documents here, from the Domesday Book, Guy Fawkes' shakily signed confession, Jane Austen's will, through to modern-day governmental papers and transferred digital files. So that's parchment to archived websites. So TNA has a variety of roles. So we're expert advisors in information and records management, and we're a cultural, academic and heritage institution. We fulfil a leadership role for the archive sector, and we work to secure the future of physical and digital records. So more about the records. Our collection is one of the largest in the world. It contains over 11 million documents and counting. We have over 250 kilometres of material. That's 180 kilometres in the depositories here, and 70 kilometres stored off-site in salt mines in Cheshire. So that's the same distance, as sticking on a historical theme, as the distance to the Bayeux Tapestry. So the breadth of our collection stretches both geographically and historically. Our domestic records include the state papers and Home Office files, while our overseas records include Foreign Office files, Colonial Office, etc. Given the scale of the collection, I'm pleased to say I don't think we'll be running out of any files to digitise anytime soon. So how do the records come here? Government departments keep records here keep records where they are while in regular use. But government legislation determines when records are transferred to TNA for permanent preservation. As a general rule, government records that have been selected for permanent preservation are sent to us when they're 30 years old, though the government has begun its move towards releasing records when they're 20 years old. Transferring departments choose which records should be selected for permanent preservation, but it's hard to know what will be of historical importance, so they discuss with TNA what needs to be preserved. Only about 5% of government documents are in fact chosen for permanent preservation. Some records are transferred to us closed for reasons of national security, for example. So by collecting and securing the future of the government record, whether it be Shakespeare's will or tweets from Downing Street, we're preserving it for generations to come. But we're also trying to make these records as accessible and available as possible. So that's where our partners, such as AM, step in. So working with academic primary source publishers like AM and also genealogy companies has enabled us to increase access to our records beyond the physical walls of Kew. Our partnership with AM has grown and developed over 30 years. Our licensing team work closely with AM's editorial team, and we help facilitate their digitisation on site. AM's Archives Direct are comprised of 14 products to date, with records sourced exclusively from TNA. We have confidential prints spanning Africa, Middle East, Latin America, North America, Foreign Office files from China, Japan, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, not to forget Central Asia, Persia and South Africa. Plus a couple of products thrown in on the Anglo-American context from the Nixon years and Harold Macmillan's time in office. TNA are also proud to have microfilm content making up contributions to 5 of AM's Scholar products as well. And we are also delighted to have partnered in multi-archival products within AM Primary, from the 1980s Culture and Society and Life at Sea, to colonial America, colonial Caribbean, which are exclusively TNA content. And we have more in the pipeline. Working with AM and other partners has significant benefits for the National Archives. It supports our public task, enabling enhanced access to our records internationally, and the functionality on AM's platform has enabled advanced searchability. It is also beneficial for the preservation of the physical record, enabling us to direct visitors to view the records online via our partners' platforms when on site, rather than handle the originals. And the royalties we receive through the income generated by our partners is fed back into the organisation to enable us to carry out the extensive work we do. We're grateful to AM for our work together, and we're very much looking forward to the next 30 years.
My name is Martha Fogg. I am the Managing Director of AM, and I just wanted to follow Kirsty's words about the National Archives really with a bit of a kind of, I suppose, some personal reflections in a way about today and about the work that we do with the National Archives. Very much don't want to tread on the toes of Claire and Gemma later when we talk more about our strategic relationships. So I'm going to kind of keep it brief and keep it personal as well. So we were just having a chat before you came in with a TNA colleague, Anna, who asked us to give a plug for an exhibition somewhere around. I didn't actually catch where it was, on one of the other floors. Here she is, just right here. And it's called Stories Unboxed. So Anna came in and very passionately told us that what it's all about is showing the value of the materiality of the archive, the smell of it, the feel of it, all of these kind of wonderful experiences that I'm sure most people in this room feel as passionately about as I do. And it did make me laugh because it feels like that's the exact opposite of what I'm here to advocate for today and what today is really all about, which is obviously about, you know, what we do as an organisation, which is to kind of support the work of the National Archives, which is kind of dauntingly important to follow from Kirsty's description, and to really think about how to create meaningful facsimiles of those and how to kind of use that to the best possible effect for education, for research, and so on. So, Anna, I actually desperately want to see that exhibit. It sounds absolutely wonderful, but it feels like completely kind of counter to what I'm advocating for today. So thanks very much for that. But do take a look. So yeah, I mean, actually kind of personally, it is really nice to be back here. It's been a couple of years since I've been here, but my 20 years at AM have encompassed all kinds of work at the National Archives. It's a place that I really, really love coming to. I've spent many, many happy hours in windowless rooms and in the stacks, exploring some of the incredible content that we've been very privileged to digitize. And I think it's quite hard, really, to overstate how important the National Archives has been for AM in our 30-year plus history as a publisher. Our relationship with what was the Public Record Office goes back pretty much to our kind of very first collections that we published in microfilm. And my own 20 years at AM have encompassed quite an incredible array of different approaches to this wonderful material. And I was reflecting on this yesterday when I was thinking about what I would say today, and thinking that when I joined AM in 2004, I was put in charge of microfilm collections from the National Archives. We were at that point still kind of very much working on our first and I think our only CD-ROM of primary source material, which was the Macmillan Cabinet Papers, now still available digitally. And Archives Direct has, over time, along with our other TNA collections, represented so many of our kind of firsts as a digital publisher, our kind of technological innovations over time. So, for example, featuring OCR and moving from kind of manual indexing to full-text searchability, which feels like, you know, incredibly standard and incredibly obvious at the time. It was tremendously exciting for that. I remember that. Colonial America, of course, being a kind of flagship product for us, with the advent of HTR, which really made that product possible. We simply couldn't have done it. We'd wanted to do it for many years, and we're not able to until the technology was really available to us, and we were the first publisher, of which we're very proud to have brought that technology to our publishing sphere. So in terms of today, yeah, a really exciting day, I think, ahead of us, and I'm really excited to hear today's talks and to be taking a real deep dive into the work of the National Archives, and hear more from our speakers about how they're using AM's content and archives more generally for teaching, for research, and for education. So one of the things that really sort of stood out to me, which I'm excited to hear more about, is the focus on undergraduate use and pedagogical teaching use cases, because I've always thought that it's quite easy to misrepresent Archives Direct or similar collections that we produced as, postgraduate or primarily research-focused content. I actually think that it's a wonderful, wonderful introduction to primary sources for undergraduates, and even, before that, really, I've actually. This is the geekiest thing ever, but I have used it with my kids. That's what we do at home. I think it's just incredibly exciting and a wonderful route into using primary sources. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about that. This kind of government material, I think, is easily assumed to be, for a much higher level of research. But I think for me, the feeling that's sort of exemplified when we go outside and they have the sort of faux cabinet table just outside this room, if you haven't spotted it already. For me, that is one of the real delights of Archives Direct and our other TNA products, is that feeling kind of metaphorically being in the room and the primary sources being able to convey this real sense of accessibility to the workings and machinations of governments past, and that kind of instant connection to actually being able to sort of be back there in that moment. For me, that is what primary sources are all about, and a perfect demonstration of the power of them to students of any age and of any level, really. One of the other key things I think really that emerges for me from today's schedule is thinking about strategy, a strategic approach, whether that is from the angle of the archive that Kristy has just talked about, and how the kind of work that we're doing and other publishers are doing benefits and adds importance to their work, but also for us as a publisher and for the libraries that we work with to access our content. Thinking about that kind of strategic approach, for me, the kind of heart of strategy is really thinking about why. Why are we doing this? What's the point of it? What's it for? Why is it ultimately important? And that is something that, in relation to our work at the National Archives, we have been giving particular holistic thought to as a company this year. At the beginning of the year, we relaunched Archives Direct onto our Cortex platform. So it's been through several iterations in its existence. And this is the latest move to kind of bring it up to date with our latest technology and make sure that it's ready to be kind of iteratively updated for many years to come. That's necessitated quite a wide-ranging number of discussions internally and with the National Archives about our forward strategy, what our customers want, what our students and our end users expect to see. So really, thinking about our partners, our audience, and the kind of future evolution of the product. And for me, these discussions really were genuinely a reminder of the enormous privilege that I personally feel, and I think we feel as a company, to be able to work with this particular kind of content and with the National Archives. The ability to kind of bring this content to a wider audience in the UK across many different types of higher education institutions, but also globally to our customers in North America, in East Asia, where it's particularly important and particularly popular as a product, and across many other areas of the globe as well, and to transform its usability, not to forget the materiality and the wonderful smell and feel of the original, but to be able to kind of bring some real technological advancements that can transform how people are using it, the understanding of the content itself, and to enhance, ultimately, its meaning. And I think living as we are in a period of history in which misinformation is rife, in which the world feels ever more unstable, in which governments, I'm sorry to say, feel less and less trusted, it feels more essential to me than ever before that we embrace and we teach future generations to embrace the ability that National Archives and its records have to allow us to critically investigate the inner workings of governments, past and in present, the present governments in time, to make links and connections across global events and across time, and to critically evaluate and question the information that is bombarding us from all corners against the evidence that primary sources provide. That's what we are really all about as a company. That's what keeps me getting up and going to work after 20 years every day. And I find it hugely important and hugely exciting to be able to play a part in bringing these records to the surface and to ensuring that academics, researchers and others are able to use them to engage, to enliven and to inform important debate. So without further ado, I guess we would like to move on to hearing from the experts that we have on those subjects and quite how they're all doing that in such wonderful ways. Thank you all very much.